It's based on a beautiful, really important book, and it's about a young woman named Lily who confronts the generational cycles in her life and breaks them and ends the circle. And I hope people find it inspiring, and yet also, you know, it's a film about a heavy topic. It's about domestic violence.
Hey there, my fabulous drama lovers. It's Holly from Hollywood Stars Unfiltered, and you already know I'm here to deliver the scorching tea straight from the Hollywood chaos tornado that is Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. And phew, today's saga. It's got more twists than a primetime soap opera. This whole It Ends With Us fiasco has gone from a simple film adaptation to a full-on legal circus, complete with shady receipts, rumored fake documents, and just the right dose of celebrity backstabbing to keep us all glued to our timelines. But hold up, this story just got even messier. 10. Yes, 10. Big-name Hollywood stars have stepped up to defend Justin Baldoni, and their statements are shaking the narrative. Could this mean Blake's version of events is missing some key details? Grab your snacks, because we're breaking down every jaw-dropping development in this spiraling Hollywood meltdown. Let's rewind to simpler times. It Ends With Us, a novel that had the book world sobbing in public places, was all set for a major Hollywood adaptation. Justin Baldoni, the king of heartfelt, emotional storytelling, signed on to direct and possibly star. And Blake Lively, fresh off a run of glamorous, comedic roles, was cast as the film's leading lady. At first, fans were ecstatic. This had all the makings of an instant classic. Romance, depth, just the right mix of raw emotion and aesthetic perfection. But, girl, that excitement did not last. Before we knew it, Blake was publicly calling out Baldoni for steamrolling her creative input, forcing comedy into scenes, pushing wardrobe choices she did not approve, and diminishing the novel's raw emotional weight. And then, Baldoni clapped back with a massive defamation lawsuit, complete with texts, production notes, and behind-the-scenes receipts that, according to him, proved Blake was all in on the comedic choices from the start. And just when we thought the drama had peaked, nope. Now Baldoni is alleging that Blake's side may have gone so far as to falsify evidence to paint him as the bad guy. Y'all, this is messy. Enter 10 major Hollywood names, each stepping into the ring for Baldoni. And let's be real, celebrities don't just randomly insert themselves into feuds unless A, they seriously believe in someone's character, B, they have first-hand experience with the people involved, or C, there's major behind-the-scenes tea that hasn't hit the public yet. So, the fact that 10 well-known figures are throwing their weight behind Baldoni? That's big. Whether it's public interviews, cryptic social media posts, or low-key industry whispers, these names are helping shift the entire narrative. First up, Gina Rodriguez. If anyone knows Baldoni's work style, it's her. She's collaborated with him closely on Jane the Virgin, where he directed episodes, and she's spoken highly of his leadership ever since. So when she was casually asked about the It Ends With Us drama during a press event, she did not hold back. Gina immediately jumped to Baldoni's defense, saying he's not the kind of director who would steamroll an actress's creative vision. If comedic moments or flashy wardrobe choices made it into the movie, she insisted it was not because Baldoni was forcing it, but because it was a collective decision. Of course, the internet exploded. Blake's supporters were fuming, demanding hard receipts to back Gina's claims. Meanwhile, Baldoni's fans celebrated, calling her response the voice of reasons in all the chaos. But not everyone was convinced. Critics argued that Gina only saw the best version of Baldoni and that she wasn't part of the It Ends With Us production. So how much could she really know? Still, in Hollywood, public loyalty means something. And right now, Gina is firmly in Baldoni's corner. Next up, Chrissy Metz. Now, she's not directly tied to It Ends With Us, but she's known Baldoni through philanthropic circles, charity events, social justice work, and projects focused on uplifting emotional storytelling. In other words, she knows his vibe. And when rumors broke that Blake was forced into a comedic tone, Chrissy posted a super cryptic Instagram story about how kindness and truth should guide creative differences. Sounds innocent enough, right? Well, fans immediately read between the lines. Given the timing, many took it as a subtle call-out, a way of saying Blake's version might not be the full truth. And let's be honest, celebs love a cryptic post when they don't want to officially take a side. Metz never directly mentioned Blake or Justin, but those who know her say she's a careful, intentional person. She wouldn't post something that could be misinterpreted without reason. So, what's her angle? Some think she's trying to gently redirect the conversation without outright slamming Blake. Others believe she's seen enough behind the scenes to know Justin's not the villain here. Now, this is big, because if there's one A-lister who does not wade into Hollywood drama, it's Hilary Swank. Yet, according to industry sources, Hilary has privately expressed that she doesn't buy the idea that Baldoni would force comedic elements onto a lead actress against her will. And listen, Hilary is not the type to speak on things she hasn't carefully considered. She's a double Oscar winner known for championing strong, empowered female narratives. She's worked with some of the best and worst directors in Hollywood, so if she's privately siding with Justin, that says something. No, she hasn't posted a searing Instagram essay about it. But in Hollywood, whispers hold weight. And sources claim that Hilary, who has always been a vocal supporter of women's rights and creative integrity, would not back Baldoni unless she truly believed the accusations against him didn't add up. Her stance is subtle, but for those paying attention, it's a significant endorsement. Because if Hilary Swank, of all people, is questioning Blake's claims, you know the narrative is shifting. And that's just 3 of the 10 voices rallying behind Baldoni. As more Hollywood figures continue speaking up, some with direct experience, others with personal knowledge of his character, the cracks in Blake's version of events are starting to show. The big question now, will her camp fire back with their own A-list supporters, or is public sentiment already tipping too far in Baldoni's favor? Now, if there's anyone who knows a thing or two about balancing comedy with emotional depth, it's Mindy Kaling. The woman has built an empire on mixing hilarious one-liners with gut-punch emotional moments. The Office, The Mindy Project, Never Have I Ever, Need I Go On. So when she was asked about the It Ends With Us drama on the red carpet, she didn't directly take a side, but her response? Loud and clear. Mindy made it a point to highlight Baldoni's ability to blend humor and raw emotion without undermining a story's core. And while she didn't name Blake outright, she strongly implied that if comedy made its way into It Ends With Us, it wasn't because Justin Baldoni was forcing it, it was because the team, including Blake, was on board. And let's be real, Mindy knows how Hollywood works. She's written, produced, and starred in her own projects. She understands exactly how much influence a lead actress has in shaping a film's tone. So what she didn't say was just as important as what she did. She didn't defend Blake's claim that the comedic elements were forced on her. She didn't express concern that the novel's emotional weight had been lost. Instead, she subtly pointed out that comedic choices in a film aren't something that just sneak in unnoticed, especially when a major star is involved in the decision-making process. Translation? If Blake is claiming she was blindsided by comedic elements, Mindy is not buying it. Then we have Selena Gomez, who approached this drama exactly how you'd expect. Quiet, thoughtful, but loaded with subtext. A source close to Selena revealed that she finds it highly unlikely that Blake was completely unaware of the comedic direction of the film. In fact, Selena questioned how someone of Blake's status and experience could be blindsided by something as major as the film's tone. Now, why does Selena's opinion matter? Because she's been there. She's been a lead actress in multiple major projects. Only Murders in the Building, Spring Breakers, The Fundamentals of Caring, and she's been in the industry since childhood. She knows how much power a lead star has, especially an A-lister like Blake Lively. Selena's logic? Lead actors, especially high-profile ones, have a say in everything. They weigh in on rewrites, wardrobe, promotional strategy, so the idea that Blake was completely unaware of how comedic elements were being incorporated? That just doesn't track. Selena didn't go full Twitter rant mode or put out a dramatic statement, but let's be real, her quiet skepticism speaks volumes. It's the kind of subtle, behind-the-scenes support that carries a lot of weight in Hollywood. And the timing? Very interesting. Selena's comment came just as public sentiment was shifting in Baldoni's favor, leading some to wonder if she was gently preparing fans for a different reality than what Blake had originally painted. Next up, Jordan Fisher, who's worked directly with Baldoni multiple times and isn't afraid to say it like it is. Now, Jordan didn't get cryptic or dance around the topic. He came straight out and said Baldoni isn't the kind of guy to let creative conflicts simmer. In fact, Jordan described Baldoni as the type of director who would hold a 10-hour Zoom meeting before letting tension fester on set. And that is a huge deal. Because if you take Jordan's words at face value, it means Baldoni was always open to discussions. That if Blake had concerns about the comedic tone, she could have spoken up and would have been heard. Jordan's message was clear. If the comedic elements were truly a problem, why weren't they addressed before the cameras rolled? Why wait until after production to claim creative interference? Why not hash it out when the entire team was still shaping the film's direction? Basically, Jordan is saying this wasn't some surprise comedic ambush. There were plenty of opportunities to speak up before things got messy. And for those who know how Hollywood sets work, his statement just makes sense. With Mindy Kaling, Selena Gomez, and Jordan Fisher all making comments that indirectly question Blake's narrative, the public is rethinking the entire feud. None of them outright accused Blake of lying, but their choice of words, phrasing, and timing paint a very different picture than what she originally claimed. And now, the question hanging over Hollywood is, was this a creative dispute blown out of proportion, or is there something bigger at play? Because if three well-respected industry figures are publicly implying that Blake wasn't as powerless in the creative process as she claims, what else might not be adding up? Just when we thought this Hollywood mess couldn't get any more dramatic, enter Sophia Bush, Shawn Mendes, and Camila Cabello, each throwing their own little log onto the fire. And trust me, this tea is boiling. If there's one thing Sophia Bush is known for, aside from her iconic TV roles, it's not holding back when it comes to Hollywood injustices. She's a vocal advocate for women's rights, fair treatment in the industry, and standing up to toxic work environments. So when she did weigh in on the Baldoni versus Lively situation, it wasn't some random comment. It was deliberate. During a panel discussion on women in film, Sophia made a super cryptic statement. Hollywood dramas are rarely as simple as one person's version. Phew. Now, she didn't mention Blake or Justin by name, but the timing of this remark was way too perfect for it to be random. The internet immediately started connecting the dots. Because, let's be real, what does that statement sound like? It sounds like a subtle but direct challenge to the idea that Blake's version of events is the whole truth. It suggests that there's more to the story, and that the real situation is way more nuanced than a simple Baldoni steamrolled Lively's vision narrative. And coming from Sophia freaking Bush, that carries weight. She's been in the industry long enough to know how things really go down behind closed doors. Some fans interpreted it as her cautioning people not to rush to judgment. Others felt it was a quiet show of support for Baldoni, without outright siding against Blake. Either way, Sophia's statement sent social media into a frenzy, with people speculating about how much insider information she really has. And then, just as people were still processing that bombshell, Shawn Mendes casually waltzes in and throws another curveball. Alright, let's talk about Shawn Mendes for a second. Shawn is not the kind of celebrity who gets involved in messy Hollywood feuds. He's usually out here minding his own business, posting about his music, and occasionally sharing a shirtless gym pic. So when he randomly posted about Justin Baldoni being one of the real ones in Hollywood, people immediately raised their eyebrows. Like, Shawn, why now? The timing was suspiciously perfect, coming right as more and more industry figures were quietly questioning Blake's claims. It felt less like a casual shout-out and more like a deliberate signal of where he stands. Of course, his comment was vague enough that he could technically play it off as just supporting a friend, but fans weren't buying it. Social media quickly exploded with speculation. Was this Shawn subtly defending Baldoni without making it too obvious? Had he heard something behind the scenes that made him want to publicly vouch for Baldoni? Or was he just another celeb seeing the way the wind was blowing and jumping in at the right moment? Either way, the message was received loud and clear. Baldoni isn't as isolated in this drama as some people thought. And if that wasn't already enough, Camila Cabello came through with the most blunt statement of all. During a live fan Q&A, someone asked her about the drama, specifically if she thought Baldoni forced comedy into the film. Camila's response? A lead actress as big as Blake Lively hardly gets forced into anything she doesn't want to do, not without the whole set knowing about it. Boom. This wasn't a vague comment. It wasn't cryptic. It wasn't subtly implied. Camila just flat out said what a lot of people were already thinking. Because let's be real, Blake Lively isn't some fresh-faced newcomer with no power in Hollywood. She's been in this industry for years, and she's known for being smart, strategic, and in control of her image. So the idea that she was completely powerless to stop comedic changes she hated, that doesn't add up, at least not to Camila. And her logic resonated. Hollywood isn't some small indie production. If an A-list actress like Blake truly had concerns, it's unlikely she would have suffered in silence. The entire crew, the producers, even the studio execs would have heard about it. So, why didn't that happen? That's the million-dollar question. When you combine Sophia Bush's cryptic warning, Shawn Mendes' well-timed endorsement, and Camila Cabello's no-nonsense take, a clear pattern starts to form. Sophia is saying there's more to this story. Sean is hinting that Baldoni is a good guy. Camila is pointing out that Blake had far more control than she's letting on. And the more respected voices that join this conversation, the harder it gets to take Blake's version of events at face value. The big question now? Will Blake's camp fight back with their own celebrity support? Or is the tide already shifting too far in Baldoni's favor? With so many big names stepping up to defend Baldoni, the question now is, where does this leave Blake? Well, her team isn't backing down. They insist that this was never just about comedic choices. It's about power, influence, and creative control. According to sources close to Blake, her frustration stems from feeling overshadowed, pressured into certain brand tie-ins, and ultimately sidelined in the decision-making process. Basically, her camp is saying, this isn't just a creative dispute, it's about the bigger power dynamics at play in Hollywood. And honestly, they've got a point. Because if history has shown us anything, it's that powerful Hollywood men protect their own. Her team argues that these 10 celebrity defenders aren't necessarily vouching for the full truth. They're just backing the version of Baldoni they know. The version that's kind, collaborative, and creative. But do they really know what happened behind closed doors? Blake's supporters say no. They claim that what these stars are seeing is a curated image of Baldoni, the charming, philanthropic filmmaker he wants to be seen as. But behind the scenes, they argue the reality was much different, one where Blake was promised creative input, only to slowly lose control over the film's tone, branding, and overall direction. So, is this just another case of Hollywood's power players closing ranks? Blake's team is certainly suggesting so. They're pointing out that most of Baldoni's defenders have either worked with him or move in the same industry circles, meaning their opinions could be influenced by professional loyalties. But here's the problem. With 10 A-listers now standing behind Baldoni, public perception is shifting, and fast. Blake started this battle with sympathy on her side. When she first spoke out, many people rallied around her, believing she had been creatively sidelined. But now, with major figures subtly, or not so subtly, questioning her version of events, people are beginning to wonder if there's more to the story. Was Blake genuinely pushed aside, or is she reframing a mutual creative process as something more sinister? And that's the dilemma she's now facing. If she wants to regain control of the narrative, she needs A-list voices of her own to back her up. The question is, will they come? At this point, it's anyone's guess. Will we get a tell-all interview? A dramatic courtroom battle? A hush-hush settlement? One thing's for sure, Hollywood is watching. Because if Baldoni has undeniable proof that evidence was planted, this could obliterate Blake's credibility. And let's not forget, the entire fate of It Ends With Us is still up in the air. If this scandal keeps spiraling, could the movie actually get shelved? Phew. What do y'all think? Is Blake's meltdown justified, or is Baldoni really the victim here? Let me know in the comments, smash that like button and subscribe because, honey, you know the next twist is just around the corner.